Do you regret the links that there have been?
You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about.
Now, in the name of transparency, can you put up, my name is in the files? Yes. Yes.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well,
there is a list. Trump's name is on the logs, the passenger logs of Epstein's aircraft at least 7 times. That's already been made public.
Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Let's get to Rodney Clinton. Now, everybody's crying about these Epstein files. Let me just make a quick statement and I'm gonna get to Rodney Clinton. There are people in the Epstein files that are evil and need to be prosecuted and probably gonna burn in hell. There are also people, and this is why Trump did not want them released the way they've been released. There's people that get in trouble just because they knew the guy or just because they communicated the guy. And some of them had no idea he was a pedophile, weirdo, I would argue. Now y'all getting people in trouble who just sent them a message trying to network. And y'all going crazy over that. You need to slow down and say, yeah, the text message is weird. 3 options you got with it, or the email. 1 is that the person is a weirdo and they need to go to jail. 2 is just because you say something weird don't mean that the government has enough evidence to prosecute you. The third thing is maybe you need to consider the context because it's only weird because you want it to be weird because it's Epstein, and in hindsight, we know he a nut job. Maybe you should think about the context of it. You got those 3 options that you should consider when you read any email. Don't be the person that think every communication is an indictment on somebody. I can name you 45 situations where people turn out to be nut jobs and good, innocent people happen to know that person. But they didn't know that person was doing that. And people are retroactively accusing people. So 3 options. Don't be a nut. Be evaluated impartially in 3 ways. This is the best bourbon that I have ever had. I don't know how we got away with selling it to you guys at such a low rate, but it's $60 bourbon. This should easily be $120 bourbon. Easy, easy. Wait till you guys try it and you see what the reviews say. Easily, the smoothest bourbon I've had, the best tasting bourbon. The Guilty is more of a traditional 6-year age bourbon, smooth. It's got a lot of flavor, a lot of notes. Like as soon as you have a sip of it, you're gonna realize it's got a lot more character than any other bourbon that I've had. The Not Guilty has brown sugar in it. We sold out our first batch immediately. And so the next batch is coming. I think it'll be here in March, like the beginning of March. You better pre-order it now or you are gonna regret it because you're not gonna have a part of it. Let me just show y'all some reviews. So go on and check them out. Look at the reviews for you purchase if you wanna check it out, or if you already purchased, leave your review. Tell us what you think. What is your verdict? All right, let's get Hillary on this thing.
And Madam Secretary, I'd like to ask you, I'm the mother of a daughter, and it absolutely horrifies me to see what the Epstein files have brought out. And I wanted to ask you, what does it say about Western values when Western leaders have perpetuated and participated in these horrific abuses of minors?
I know people are going to be mad at me for saying this. It is horrific, and I hope these people go to jail and they burn in hell for them being inappropriate to underage and of age women. I want to also point out, and I think this needs to be talked about as well, teach your young girls to focus on doing the right thing, not get rich quick, and not mess with these clown weirdos looking for opportunities. Many people that become victims to these weirdos are young women whose parents do not teach them how to have integrity. They're teaching them, get opportunities. Let Epstein send you to boarding school or some culinary school so you can chase your dreams, and you know you got to do something nasty in the background to get him there. Same thing with R. Kelly and the rest of these people. People send their kids to R. Kelly house. Y'all was bumping and grinding and pumping and sweating over his song last night. and you send your 16-year-old in his house. Y'all gotta eliminate the opportunities for your kid to get exposed to some of these weirdos. That is also a conversation we need to have. Roll the clip, Brandon. Stop. Roll the clip.
And girls.
Thank you very much. We have gone everywhere from New Start to Epstein.
To the last question, it's horrifying, and we're hoping that, there will be continued release every day that passes. That doesn't mean, as our news commentators say every day in the United States, it's because someone's name is there, they committed a crime. But I think there's a lot of very troubling and really horrific information coming out. Today, it came out that Steve Bannon was trying to get Jeffrey Epstein to help him overthrow Pope Francis. I guess that was part of the civilizational
true
conservatism. So it is something that needs to be totally transparent. I've called for many years for everything to be put out there so people can.
All right, y'all notice how her example was Steve Bannon. Now let's go look at the mirror real quick. Let's let her put her ugly face against the mirror so she can look in the mirror. She claimed that her and her husband have no connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Woman, if you gon' say something, you need to be consistente. I just made that word up. It's a Spanish Negro word for consistent. Okay? Consistente. Listen to what she said when she was interviewed, and then we're gonna blast her with the proof. Roll the clip.
Do you regret the links that there have been?
We have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. And we are more than happy to say what we know, which is very limited and totally unrelated to their behavior or their crimes. And we want to do it in public because let's make this transparent.
There are calls for another individual who denies wrongdoing to go before Congress on this matter. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew. Do you think he should testify?
I think everybody should testify. Look,
including the former prince?
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated.
Hold on. You know how stupid these people are? I just want to make this point before we show you Ghislaine Maxwell at a wedding and all this other stuff. If they wanted to divert attention from Donald Trump, they would have redacted his name. Why did they redact Donald Trump's name? They exposed Donald Trump. They allowed Donald Trump, whatever his dealings were, to be exposed in the public. And now, if you go and look up some of the Epstein files, it exonerates Donald Trump to a large degree. One accusation against him was like 35 years after they claimed that it happened. They referred to him as President Trump, so that means that they must have accused him while he was the president, which is insane. They interviewed him. It was unfounded. Donald Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He didn't like Trump. Trump was a snitch, according to him. But now they keep saying they're trying to cover it up from Donald Trump. You tell me why they didn't do this under the Biden administration. Where was the victims under the Biden administration? Why nobody was crying and spitting on each other about this? Instead, they're doing it now because they want to discredit Donald Trump. And he said, put it all out there. And they still want to act like he's the problem or they covering for him. All right, let's go to the picture. What about this picture? Now, this could be AI. It don't seem like AI. We've seen it before. It's not AI. See, my team says it's verified.
Yeah, Brandon, that is verified picture.
Verified picture. Ghislaine Maxwell at their wedding. It's not just everybody come to the global initiative. At your daughter's wedding. How they get the invite? Last time I checked, you can't just pull up to somebody's wedding. Okay, we got more. Let's talk about Billy. Roll it.
Well, we know he was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system. But, you know, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know why A.G. Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. You know, they're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
Donald Trump was asked about this on Air Force One. Roll the clip.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you, and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know. They're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly testify?
You know, I've been totally exonerated on Epstein, and it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in.
100% right. Let's go to Whoopi Goldberg because she also is getting pulled in. And I'm saying you reap what you sow, right? You on here, Whoopi on here running her mouth, and women on The View running their mouth, bashing everybody, and then all of a sudden they show up in the files, and now they want to change the rules of the game. All right, show Whoopi. Roll it.
Now, in the name of transparency, can you put up my name is in the files? Yes. And what does it say? It says, Whoopi needs a plane to get to Monaco. John Lennon's charity, it should say Julian Lennon's charity, is paying for it. They don't want to charter, so they're looking for private owners. Here's the info. And they give all the information, and they're saying, do you want to offer your G2? Okay.
And it looks like they said no thanks.
Yeah.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend, I wasn't his friend.
You were too old for him.
I was not only too old, but it was at a time, you know, where this is just not, you used to have facts before you said stuff.
But Trump is on the list 38,000 times.
Well, I can't speak to him, but I'm speaking about me because I'm getting dragged. People actually believe that I was with him. It's like, honey, come on. Yeah. Every man that I've ever been with, you've known about him because either the Inquirer wrote it about it. Yeah. Your people wrote about this stuff. So no, I never had this, you know, and no, I didn't get on the plane because you know what I would have to do to get on the plane? Fly. They were trying to,
and she doesn't fly.
No, so they're trying
She's
to get me.
Babe.
They're trying to get me to get on a plane to get to this thing for Julian Lennon.
Yeah, but the thing is, they dropped like 300 names.
Yes.
And it's like flood the zone because when you're looking, there are people like Marilyn Monroe, who was dead.
Elvis.
Yeah, a
is
lot of
on the
people, because a
thing.
lot of the reasons your name can be mentioned are news articles, third-party emails, contacts. Again, wealthy, famous people often cross in professional and social circles, so that's not the surprising part.
It's funny they had that energy when they on the list. But Donald Trump can't be professionally crossing Jeffrey Epstein. Look at Dum Dum McDum-Dum. Probably top 5 dumbest women alive. Maybe to ever live. Listen to what she said.
People were dying for this information. There was some sort of list that everybody thought was going to come out, and who's on the list. What's important for us to note is we shouldn't be repeating names that are on the list, because just because your name has, not on the list, but in the documents, just because your name is on the documents doesn't mean that you have done anything criminally irresponsible or illegal or civilly irresponsible.
Or that you were a client.
Or that you were a client. Only really, these documents, as I read them, only reflect Epstein's sexual assaults of women and his sexual behavior. So I think that...
And Ghislaine also?
And Ghislaine. And so being named in this suit does not equate to being accused of wrongdoing. And I think that is extremely important, because conspiracy theorists seem to not understand or enjoy facts.
Yes.
These are the facts.
There is a list.
Time out. Now, look at the dates. The el datas. It's my own Spanish words. The el datas. 2024, if it could implicate Hillary or any one of these people while Trump is not in office, right? She's all for not everybody on the list is this way. They shouldn't be presumed this way. 2025, when Trump is the president, look how she talking.
Trump's name is on the logs, the passenger logs of Epstein's aircraft at least 7 times. That's already been made public. I mean, of course, Trump is denying any and all allegations, but all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
So now you want the list released because Donald Trump could be implicated in your mind. But before that, you don't want it released. These people are hypocrites and nut jobs.